In clinical biochemistry, the biomolecules can be quantified from any biological sample. Today, we will discuss about the estimation of blood glucose by glucose oxidase method. This is the structure of glucose. Within the bloodstream, the normal glucose level is regulated by two hormones, insulin as well as glucagon. The normal value of blood glucose lies in between 64 to 104 milligram per deciliter. The blood glucose can be estimated by various ways, including the chemical method as well as colorimetric, biochemical or enzymatic method. The colorimetric chemical method includes the oxidation reduction as well as condensation method. In oxidation reduction chemical method, there are some ions like cupric, ferric. They can be converted to cuprous as well as ferrous with the help of non-reducing property of the glucose. And in case of condensation method, the glucose is condensed with either orthotoluidine or with anthrone. But there are so many disadvantages of the colorimetric chemical method because we know they exploit non-reducing property of the glucose. So, any non-reducing agent present in the bloodstream can interfere there. So, all the chemical methods are obsoleted now. Nowadays, the biochemical or enzymatic methods to determine blood glucose is predominated. So, there are so many enzymatic methods that includes hexokinase method, glucose dehydrogenase method as well as glucose oxidase peroxidase method. Now students, you can see the schemes of hexokinase method, dehydrogenase method as well as glucose oxidase peroxidase method. In case of hexokinase and glucose dehydrogenase, the glucose is converted to gluconolactone, and along with gluconolactone, NADH is getting produced. And you know that NADH can be estimated spectrophotometrically at around 340 nanometer wavelength. But in case of glucose oxidase peroxidase method, glucose is oxidized to gluconic acid with the help of glucose oxidase enzyme. Along with that, hydrogen peroxide is also produced. But unfortunately, any of the products cannot be estimated. So, we have to couple this reaction with peroxidase reaction, where the H2O2 is getting converted to H2O and molecular oxygen. Now, the advantages of glucose oxidase method over other method includes the specificity of the reaction. You know that the enzymes are very specific to their substrate. Here glucose oxidases are very specific to their substrate beta D glucose. And by this method, from any complex mixture, glucose can be estimated. So, for its specificity, this glucose oxidase method is predominated over any other enzymatic method. Moreover, the final estimation is done by polarographic estimation, which is much more precise than any other physical parameter determination. According to the name of inventor scientist, there are two types of glucose oxidase peroxidase method. The first one is Seyfert-Gerstenfeld method, where the pre-chromogenic substrate, you know what is pre-chromogenic substrate? That accepts molecular oxygen and gives chromogenic product that is ultimately measured. Here the pre-chromogenic substrate is orthodianisidine and the final product is red in coloration, which can be measured at around 520 nanometer. The second one is Trinder's method. Here the pre-chromogenic substrates are 4-amino-antipyrine or aminophenazone as well as phenol. The advantage actually lies over the specificity of 4-amino-antipyrine and the phenol reagent, which is very specific to accept molecular oxygen till the end point. So sometimes this Trinda's method is called as the method of endpoint determination. As introduction, again we can say from glucose, with the help of glucose oxidase, it is first converted to gluconic acid and hydrogen peroxide. These hydrogen peroxide in turn with the help of peroxidase is converted to H2O and molecular oxygen. This particular molecular oxygen is coupled with 4-amino-antipyrine and phenol. So, the final product produced as chromogenic substrate, that is quinonimine dye, is spectrophotometrically measured and that is proportional with the glucose present in the bloodstream. So, this is the schematic reaction where you can see glucose is first converted to gluconic acid and hydrogen peroxide. This hydrogen peroxide in turns by combining with 4-AAP and phenol gives rise to quinonimine dye, which can be measured at 505 nanometer. So, the total thing of these oxidase peroxidase method is based upon the principle of action of glucose oxidase as well as coupled reaction with peroxidase. This is the structural scheme of the reaction. So, from ring structure of glucose, the open structure is first produced and it is giving rise to oxidized gluconic acid. This is the device or machine by which final chromogenic product quinonimine dye is measured at particular wavelength of 505 nanometer, which is actually red in color. It is a device or machine where the light is passed through the solution. The solution is actually kept inside this particular cuvette and this cuvette is placed inside the spectrophotometer and it obeys the Lambert-Beer's law. The Lambert-Beer's law means the absorbance of the solution which is proportional with the concentration of the solution. So, here we can say OD or absorbance is equal to epsilon C and L. Epsilon is molar extinction coefficient of the solution, C is the concentration of the solution and L is the path length, right. So, in this way, without giving any sample or putting the water, the blank can be made and through which the light will be passed. Then we can keep sample here and again the light will be passed. In this way, we can measure the intensity of the absorption. So, absorbance A is equal to minus log I by I0. I is the intensity of light absorption when sample is present, I0 where no sample is present. Okay? So, in this way, we can measure the optical density of any solution at any particular wavelength. Here you can see this is the blood glucose kit. It contains the reconstitution bottle in which the reagent will be prepared and it also contains a manual to be followed. Okay? The kit must be stored in refrigerator. If it is unopened, then the mentioned expiry date can be maintained at around 2 to 8 degrees centigrade. If the reagents are mixed, then 3 to 4 weeks are permissible to keep them at around 2 to 8 degree centigrade. And we have to follow whether the turbidity is arised within the solution or not. If it is turbid, we will avoid to use them. The first step of the process is started with sample blood collection. Here you can follow the person who is collecting the blood is wearing gloves.
Ma'am, what is the utility to wear gloves during sample collection?
The wearing of gloves or use of gloves helps to avoid cross contamination. 2 ml of blood is quite enough to carry out the enzymatic process. And the anticoagulants like EDTA and sodium fluoride will be mixed with the blood, and 2 ml blood will be stored at around 2 to 8 degree centigrade in refrigerator. Let's talk about the reagents. So it contains reagent 1, reagent 2 and reagent 3. Reagent 1 has glucose oxidase, peroxidase, amino antipyrine as well as stabilizer. Reagent 2 is glucose diluent and reagent 3 is glucose standard.
Ma'am, what is the glucose diluent used in reagent 2?
Again a very good question. So glucose diluent is nothing but phenol that will be mixed with the solid reagent 1. Let's talk individually about the reagent. Reagent 1. Reagent 1 is solid. It is supplied in a vial. There are 10 vials available in one kit. It contains glucose oxidase enzyme. It contains peroxidase enzyme, amino antipyrine as well as stabilizer. The solid thing means it is lyophilized. So the phosphate buffer is also included here, having concentration 100 millimolar at pH 7. Concentration of glucose is 150,000 unit per liter and peroxidase concentration is 1600 unit per liter. So glucose diluent is nothing but phenol. So it is actually supplied in an amber bottle to avoid the light contamination. Reagent 3 is nothing but glucose standard. In some kit, 3 standards are available like 100 milligram per deciliter, 300 milligram per deciliter as well as 500 milligram per deciliter. But in our kit, only 2 standards, 100 milligram per deciliter as well as 500 milligram per deciliters are supplied. The preparation of glucose standard solution means we will use the master stock of glucose, that is 500 milligram per deciliter, and we will serially dilute them by following this formula. V1S1 is equal to V2S2. V1 is initial volume of the master stock. S1 is strength of master stock, that is 500 milligram per deciliter here. V2 is the final volume and S2 is the final strength to be made. So you can follow this table which will help you to make the different series of dilution like 100, 200, 300, 400 as well as the master stock. We can dilute them by mixing with water. So in this way the series of glucose standards can be either made or cannot be made. Directly one standard can be used here.
Ma'am,
Yes?
why do we need to prepare a series of standards?
The series of standard helps us to make the standard curve. So it imparts the precision to the method. So reagent 1 contains all the enzymes together and reagent 2 is glucose diluent. So in reconstitution bottle supplied by the kit, we can mix the 1 vial of reagent 1 with 50 ml of glucose diluent. Now it is ready to use. There are so many parameters involved in this method. So the method is called endpoint detection that I have already mentioned. The wavelength range to scan in spectrophotometer is 500 to 550 nanometer, but the absorption maxima is at around 505 nanometer. The temperature either may be room temperature or 37 degrees centigrade, and according to the temperature the time can be set either 10 minutes or 7 minutes. And as blank that I have already mentioned, the water will be used. First, I have already mentioned that the reagent 1 is mixed with reagent 2, right? So this reagent will be added in 1000 microliter in amount with the micropipette, okay? And the samples are taken in 10 microliter, whether it will be blank, whether it will be blood or the standard solution, okay? And we will incubate them for 37 degrees centigrade at 10 minutes or 7 minutes. before taking the absorbents, you may dilute the total acid system with 1000 and 500 microliter of the water. Okay, so sometimes it may not be needed. So the reagents we will use in 1000 microliter and all the samples will be used in 10 microliter. Okay, after incubation we will measure the absorbents at 505 nanometer. This is the observation table. After incubation as well as dilution with the water, we will observe the spectrophotometric analysis in case of blank, where only 10 microliter of the water is given, in the series of standards where the different glucose standards are used, as well as the test sample that is done with 10 microliter of blood sample. So the result can be monitored in two ways. Either with the series of standard glucose concentration, we can prepare a standard curve. In standard curve, in x-axis, there is glucose concentration, and in y-axis, there will be measured absorbance. So we can follow a line. So that is the standard curve for glucose. Let's take an example. Some OD values are given here, as well as the OD of the test sample is also measured. So let's put the value of unknown sample OD here, and so from extrapolating with the standard curve, we can know the concentration of blood glucose. That is actually 111 microgram per deciliter. So this is one way. By measuring the series of glucose standard with the help of standard curve, we can measure glucose concentration. But there is also another way. If we don't have the chances to make the serial dilution, then we can follow this unitary method containing formula. By having only one standard and measuring the OD value of this standard, we can directly measure the amount of glucose present in the sugar or glucose present in the blood. So the glucose is equal to absorbance of the sample divided by absorbance of the standard multiplied by concentration of the standard that is known to us. So let's take the OD of the unknown is 0.2 and OD of the 100 microgram per deciliter glucose is 0.18. So from here we can have the idea about the concentration of glucose in blood, that is 111.1 milligram per deciliter. If it is taken in microgram, that will be microgram. If it is taken in milligram, the value will also be in milligram level. The comments includes the interpretation of the method that has been already used as well as interpretation of the data obtained. In case of interpretation of the method used, we must take care of the linearity of the standard curve within the region of 100 to 500 microgram or milligram per deciliter. If it does not maintain linearity, that means it is not obeying the Lambert's-Beer law. Again, another very important thing is here that OD must not exceed the value of 2, because we know the 2 or absorbance equal to minus log I by I0, that tends to 100. So 100 means everything is getting absorbed, nothing is transmitted. So that particular solution cannot be taken, that must be diluted. The data available must not cross the range of the standards. Okay, so it must be within the standard range. Otherwise, the sample also can be diluted and ultimate concentration will be multiplied by the dilution factor. After getting the data, we will compare them with the reference scale of plasma or blood glucose. At fasting condition, plasma or blood glucose lies within 70 to 110 milligram per deciliter. In postprandial, the level lies in between 80 to 140 milligram per deciliter, and in random, it lies in between 60 to 140 milligram per deciliter. Any value above these normal values are called as hyperglycemic condition, and any value lowers to this normal value is referred as hypoglycemic condition. Hyper is excessive, hypo is less. Let's talk about, or let's criticize about the performance of the method. The method is based on the linearity of the standard curve, okay, as well as the linearity will give you the precision level. So precision lies over quality control as well as biostatistical analysis. Quality control include the reference scale that I have already mentioned. So with standard commercially available SERA, the machine must be standardized when the sample will be determined by the machine. So that is called the within the day precision, and if the standard is not used within that particular day, if it is used throughout the week, so that is called between the day precision. So that's why from different one laboratory to other, the reference scale is actually varied, but always all other components must be kept constant in case of one particular laboratory. And in case of biostatistical analysis, you know, we have to perform the series of different reaction, we have to give the multiplicity of the results. So the results can be presented in terms of percentage of standard deviation or percent of coefficient of variables. In this way, the confidence over the data will be increased. The errors can be arise from various ways, starting from human error. So the mislabeling can be happen, mispipetting can be happen, right? Or the material error means, so sometimes I have already mentioned the reagents may be turbid, right? May not be mixed in the proper volume, or sometimes the error may comes from the material or chemical itself. If bilirubin, uric acids are present, they may interfere, and sometimes other aldohexose can also cross react with the glucose oxidase. The limitation lies on several facts, including that the sample value must not exceed the standard value, that is 500 milligram per deciliter. I have already mentioned bilirubin, uric acid, glutathione, they may increase or they sometimes give the faulty results to the blood glucose level, as well as ascorbic acid can decline the blood glucose level, okay. Catalase is the enzyme which can inhibit the action of glucose oxidase as well as peroxidase enzyme. So in this way, there are some of the limitations of this particular method. Moreover, there are so many advantages of this method. This is very rapid, very simple enzymatic reaction, and these glucose oxidase peroxidase enzyme has much more shelf life, right? So we can store them, and low cost per test, and the enzymatic reaction is very specific and sensitive. Sensitive means very minute amount of glucose can also be estimated. Some precautions must be taken. The glasswares must be clean, right? And usually the reagents are light and temperature sensitive. So we have to use the reconstitution bottle. And incubation period will be uniform for blank, for test sample as well as for standards. So according to Sonowani et al. 1976, it was experimented that irrespective of other method, this method is very specific as well as sensitive, but within the range of 100 to 500 milligram per deciliter. According to the data obtained, we may conclude whether the blood sugar is hypoglycemic or hyperglycemic. So according to the result or comments, the treatment will be recommended by medical practitioner. So you can see there are some symptoms for hyperglycemia, that is the diabetic condition. The headache, body cramps, they can be followed here. In case of hypoglycemia, the lower level of blood glucose can be manifested in case of sweating, in case of shivering, as well as body cramps also. There are some of the recommendation against this hyperglycemia as well as hypoglycemia. In case of hyperglycemia, you know that insulin is given, and in case of hypoglycemia, particular proper diet is recommended. So here you can observe the proper diet. So these glucose oxidase peroxidase method is not only used to estimate blood glucose but also used to estimate the glucose from the foodstuffs as well as diet beer, etc. And this method is used in pharmaceutical as well as cosmetics industry. Glucometer, another device where actually we use in our house for domestic purpose to estimate blood glucose. So you can see the strips are there which is pre-immersed in the glucose oxidase peroxidase enzyme. So by giving 1 drop of blood, it will change in color, right? And the extent of color change can give you the idea about the amount of glucose present in the bloodstream. So in conclusion, we can say this is very rapid and routine method that is actually used in all clinical diagnostic laboratory. Interesting thing I will show you. This is the prescription of one diabetes patient. It is very interesting that in fasting condition, she has normal level of blood glucose. But after taking meal, so that is called the postprandial blood sugar level. So we can follow the elevated blood sugar. Actually, these types of difference from the fasting to the postprandial level is not manifested by any other sugar estimation method, only by this method. Okay, so it was investigated that the patient was actually administered with steroid types of drug for 12 years, so which can increase the postprandial blood glucose level. That is only manifested by this Trinder's glucose oxidase peroxidase method. So from this application, you can follow the utility of glucose oxidase peroxidase method to estimate blood glucose level.